Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Lisa Lashendra reaching out to you from Insurance Agency Marketing. I appreciate everybody that has joined us this morning. I have the pleasure of having our VP of Sales, Austin Eller at North American, with us today, and he's going to take a deep dive and tell you guys everything you need to know to fill that piece in your client's portfolio that is missing with a nice income option here. Um, Before I get started, I'm just kind of taking a look at some of my attendees that I've got here today, and I do recognize some names, but there are several names here that I don't recognize. I always like to give a 10,000-foot view of what you guys get in working with IAM. So for those of you that are already contracted, thanks for coming back again. This will be a nice refresher to make sure you're taking advantage of all of the perks you get in being a partner with IAMS. And for those of you that are new and this is your first webinar with us, welcome to the IAMS family. Want to kind of share with you some of the perks that you get with us as well. So if you ever have any questions, the question box is always up. I'm going to send out a couple polls. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started because I know you're all anxious to hear from our boy, Austin. All right. So, right out of the gate, when you contract with IAMS in your first 6 months, we are going to give you a little something back just as a thank you for giving us a shot and, writing some business with us. So, we have several different levels here, and it starts at $100,000 level. So once you write 100,000 in premium with us, um, you could either choose from $750 in cash, or maybe it's a marketing analysis, maybe it's 1,500 piece mailing. These are just ideas, and I'm going to get into our creative services and all of the perks that you get with IAMS, as we move along here. But know this, we think outside the box. And I think what is very, very unique about IAMS is that, and what I like is that not one of you, or there's no two of you guys that work the same. And that's a thing I love about my job. I never know who I'm going to be talking to and what stage in their business or their career that they're in. And, for somebody that might be, more well established, maybe it's revamping things to make their back office, work a little bit smoother. Maybe it's a better CRM system or something like that. For those that are just getting into the business, maybe we just need to start really developing your web presence, or getting you in front of some people so that you can start working on getting referrals and building your book. Or if you're in between the middle and maybe it's a little bit of both, we think outside the box, we evaluate you, and we have a conversation, and we listen to you, and kind of try to determine, okay, well, what's missing, and what can we do to help you hit those goals, hit that $1 million mark, hit that $10 million mark. And that's what we're interested in doing. So these are just ideas to kind of give you an idea of what you could receive at these levels. If you're ever curious about where you're at, or want to balance, just let us know. I'd be happy to talk to you about that. Also, there is no better compliment in our industry, or any sales industry for that matter, than a referral. So obviously, you're going to build your business on referrals. We do the same thing, and but we're going to make sure that we continually remind you that we appreciate that by giving you our referred producer bonus program. So what happens is, when they first, get contracted, we're going to give you a $50 check. After they write some business, is it that, you can get up into the thousands. So we give you a slight override for all the business that they write. It's listed specifically on what those override numbers are here on this slide. And then we just continue to go. So those checks get issued to you on a quarterly basis, It does not shave anything off of their referrals commission. It is literally a check that comes out of our revenue from Steve Murray to your bank account. So it is purely an appreciation factor that we want to show you that, without you doing that introduction, we wouldn't have that business, and we want to thank you for that. So if you have any questions on that, be sure to let us know. Back office support. That is really what we are known for. I mean, a lot of people, we have North America, and I'm sure, I'm guessing that we're not the only IMO that has North American, right?
That is
Austin.
correct.
I'm the only one that you
That's
work
correct.
with, correct? No. So where we really do a lot of where we have that reoccurring business is because of our back office support. We're the ones that are staying on the phones with the carriers every few days, making sure that those applications are still being processed accurately, getting the carriers all the information that they need, doing that in between for you, because our goal here at IMES is for you to be talking to people. That's what you do best. Let us do all the back office stuff for you, whether that's illustrations, casework, following up for business and making sure that's being processed accurately, marketing, all of that. Let us do that. We want you talking to people because that's how you make your revenue as well. Now, talking about, some of the resources that you have here at IAMS, I encourage everybody to go. If you have not been on our website, make some time, give me 5 minutes today and log in and just fool around in there. It's www.imzinc.com. And you've got anything from, I mean, we've got access to Firelight. I'll get to that in probably my next slide here. But there's a ton of, you can look at all of our webinars. This webinar is going to be put on there by the end of the day. So, you can always go back and watch webinars if you're specifically interested in inherited IRAs. I have an inherited IRA webinar with North American in there. We've got Roth conversion webinars that you can go in there and learn about those. We get a lot of compliments on the training that we provide people, so that they can be more educated in helping their clients in a lot of different other areas. So, you've got term quoters, you can request forms, you can get forms, you can get fact finders. I mean, it is in a plethora of information for you out there. So please save imsinc.com on your browser. Take a few minutes if you want me to give you a tour. Just hit me up after this and I'd be happy to do that. Like I said, on our website, we also have one of the best leading EAP resources there in the industry, and that is called Firelight. Firelight, and I'm going to have Austin chime in here a little bit so you can get it from a carrier's point of view. But I am telling you, if you want your app in good order, this is one of the best ways to do it. And you're doing everything that you would do if you took a paper app, except you get to type in all the information. It's going to ensure you that you have the correct, most current forms. And whether you select that this is a cash app or transfer or maybe inherited or whatever, when you're selecting those options on the app, it's going to automatically pull the appropriate forms for those. Let's say you say it's a trust. It's going to automatically pull the trustee forms. Inherited, it's going to pull the inherited forms. Transfer, it's going to pull the right transfer forms. So you really do save yourself a lot of time in having to go back and get corrections. And I know I was an agent many years ago, and the last thing I wanted to do was go ask my client to re-sign an app or get, re-initial and date an app. I hated it. Biggest pet peeve. So I can imagine how you guys feel. Austin, I know North American has an awesome turnaround time, especially in the industry that or in the space in our industry that we're in with everybody moving to annuities. You want to give them your 2 cents on how you feel about EAPs? from a carrier
Oh,
standpoint?
absolutely. Absolutely. I love the e-app. Obviously as someone who works for the company, there are issues that come about when I have to work with an agent or, IMOs where issues arise on a contract that has already been submitted. But if you use the e-application, our numbers, when we, take a look at them on a monthly basis, if you use the e-application, one, it makes sure that you have filled out every aspect of the application that is required. So, when you are sending in that application, every single piece of information that North American needs is submitted, and we are able to see that. Two, what's really awesome about that is it just starts this process a lot faster. If you submit a paper application, we have to image it into our system. We have to have a person go in and manually review that information, and if there are some pieces of the application that aren't legible, we have to kind of spend some extra time trying to figure out what's being said or what was written in a particular spot. The biggest advocate or the biggest example that I can share with you guys here on an e-application, we allow for ACHs on initial premium. We had an application that was submitted via the e-app, and because of what was put on the suitability form, there are certain instances where actually the computer, based on what you had put into the application, the computer automatically goes in and approves that suitability. There's certain, number thresholds that we see, liquid assets, net worth, et cetera. And if all of that information put on the e-app is falling within those guidelines, it can get automatically approved with suitability right away. So it does not need to have its eyes put on by someone in suitability and have it reviewed. And then with that ACH form example, we had a contract issue within 9 minutes, one point in time. Agent
Wow.
went in, put all the information in right, had the client sign it. It was submitted, automatically approved through suitability, and that ACH. As soon as that's submitted, we go to pull the funds, and the money came so quick. We had a contract issued in minutes. Whereas had that been a paper application and had you faxed in the paperwork and whether it be mailed in the money, whatever it may have been, you could have been looking at anywhere between 2 to 5 business days, depending on, the type of situation, or if you had forgotten some information on the application, that could make the process longer as well. So I preach using the e-application as much as I can. It makes things so much easier, and the more electronic you can be now moving forward, the easier your life as an agent can be too.
And just to touch on that specifically with North American, I mean, I had an agent call me this week that the client was getting rather irritated because their app has been in with the carrier since August, and we're seeing those delays right now because of all the people trying to get out of the market, save their principal, going into an annuity. So they asked me to submit it into North American instead. And when I got that over, it's going to be processed and issued in 5 to 7 business days versus 60. So that's a big difference. And Austin, I mean, you just told me 9 minutes, so now I'm gonna keep that standard up. So be ready.
Don't hold us to that every time, right? But it's just something that I love sharing, and
That's
like
what I
Sid
heard.
also
I don't
said,
know
I
what
just want to
everybody
hit
else
on.
heard. That's what I heard. I heard 9 minutes.
And I appreciate you bringing up. We are running at full speed. I mean, we're busier than heck right now too. Our sales are off the charts. Higher than they've ever been. Our pending is, I think, the highest actually North American has ever had. So, what's awesome is we are able to keep up with the business that we are getting, while also keeping within our standard timeframes we had prior to the influx of business. So, thank you, Lisa.
Pretty awesome. All right, well, moving on. I can go on and on about e-apps. Let's get them issued and gone. Okay, so before I was talking a little bit about that new producer builders bonus, right? And then I mentioned something about our creative team. So our creative team, this group of folks, they are so talented and quick, 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 quick. They get things turned around very in a timely manner. They're all in-house. We're not outsourcing any of this stuff. So whether you are looking for maybe just to revamp your logo, maybe your logo is 20 years old and you want to freshen it up, Maybe you need business cards. Maybe you need to revamp your website or starting from scratch. Maybe you just need to create a website or have a social media presence. We can do all of that stuff for you. So a lot of times you'll talk to your marketing director, myself, or maybe it's a director on the life side or the annuity side. And you're gonna notice we're gonna want you to talk a lot about yourself and your goals. And in that process, we're going to start thinking about all the different tools we have here at IAMS, and we utilize our creative marketing solutions for that. So if you have anything in mind, jot it down right now on a piece of paper, um, and write in the comments, that you're interested in maybe looking at, IAMS Creative to be able to help um, improve your business or improve your marketing somehow. And then I'll be sure that we connect with you after this later today and go over that. So keep that always in mind that we are your go-to for that marketing assistance. Also, this has been quite the topic. I've been having a lot of conversations with our resource to our IMS Wealth Management team. And while I talk about this, I am going to go ahead and launch a poll if you're interested in knowing more about it. But IMS Wealth Management is something we started several years ago when we were trying to think what else could we really be offering our agents to provide them a full service and that one-stop shop for everything. We give you guys all the marketing, we help you with lead sources or all your casework, all that back office work, all that. But what if you have somebody that's needing a registered product? And so come up with this IMS Wealth Management, and Charles Jr. runs this office, and has got a great crew there. They're going to give you all the same back office support that you get with regular IMS with the life and annuities and all of that. But here's a couple examples. So if you were looking to get registered and you want to get your 65, call IMS Wealth Management. We can help you do that. If you're already registered and you're tired of dealing with your broker dealer and you just want to manage your AUM and have somebody do all the back office junk for you, call IMS Wealth Management. We'll take care of you. We'll even build you a website. We take care of all the compliance, all of those things that take up that time and keep you from being in front of people. We will handle for you. Now, here's my favorite part. If you are not registered and don't intend to get registered at this time for your 65 or whatnot, um, and you have a client that really should be in maybe mutual funds or something that takes a register, you need to be licensed for, securities license for, you can call IMS Wealth Management or let your director know, and they will help you and your client with that product. Now, I mentioned before I was an agent, before I had my Series 6 and 63, um, I had to go to another guy that did. And guess what happened? He was written on 50% of the app for all the rest of the stuff I didn't need his help on. The annuity, the life insurance, all of that. And you can bet money that he tried to talk him into some more registered products just so he could get more control on my client. And that just really that that gets you all sorts of twerked off doing that. And this is a great way to keep your client in your own backyard. I've got several agents that aren't looking to get registered right now, but maybe in the next year or so. So here's the cool part. Once you do get registered and then a part of IMS Wealth Management, we are going to transfer those clients back to you. I don't know anybody else in the industry that will do that. Why would they give them back to you? They did the work. No, we are going to give them back to you because this is a resource you get with IMS. So if you are wanting to know how you can be part of the IMS Wealth Management Group or receive any of the perks there, maybe move your business over there or tired of your broker dealer, If you are interested or have clients in mind that you don't want to refer to somebody else to help them with this aspect of their portfolio, let me know. If, you just have questions and want to, pick the brain with Duncan or Zach over there, let us know. I'll make sure that we get you connected. So with that, I appreciate everybody voting on that poll. I'll close and keep moving on. I have a question in the question box. Yes, this is being recorded. And like I said, you can go onto our YouTube channel on our website and you can look at these anytime. I'm also going to send everybody a um, a link to the recording as well with goodies attached. The last thing here I want to point out is our next Life and Annuity Academy. I'm going to launch a poll here. If you're interested in coming to our academy, be sure you do check yes here, because we are filling up those seats and finalizing them probably by the end of next week. But our 2-day training, and we're the only IMO out there that does this. We pay for the flight, the trip, the hotel, the room and board, the entertainment, everything. And Austin, you can, we've done some of these. We partner with North American on these in the past as well. But this is going to be in Des Moines, and we're going to go over some of the best strategy ideas here in 2022 and coming up in 2023. We're going to have some keynote speakers. We're going to talk about large case, management and concepts, wealth transfer tools. You're going to be hearing from some of the best in the industry. But the really cool part, I think, is that we're going to put you in a room with 45 other people that are successful, um, that you get to rub elbows with. Hey, what's working with this guy over here in Minnesota? I mean, he's writing 6 million, how's this guy writing 15 million a year? What's working for him? And just having that camaraderie with other folks in your industry, running into maybe some of the same dead ends as you are, and trying to find those resources. What we're trying to do with these academies is we're wanting to be that ultimate resource for you, and then have you walk away with tools and ideas to grow your business. That's the outcome for these things. So if you are interested in attending our next one, again, we're going to be closing out the registration at the end of next week and finalizing that, because we got to get started with flights. It's going to be November 2nd through the 4th, but definitely make sure you hit yes here. I'll give it another 5 seconds here to have this poll open, and I'll be sure I get that registration over to you and answer any questions you might have. All right. Thanks everybody for participating in that. I really do appreciate it. And that's it. We are a marketing organization, so obviously we have Facebook and LinkedIn. I encourage you all to, get connected with us there. We're always putting, out new information, good information for our industry. And with that said, I'm done with my spiel. Austin, are you ready to give these guys all they need to know?
I sure am, and I should ask, can you hear me fine right now?
I hear you perfectly well.
All righty. I'm actually out on the road traveling this week, so I'm doing this from my hotel, and housekeeping stopped by, and I had to put myself on mute for 2 seconds. So I wanted to make sure that I was back and unmuted. So I am here and ready to rock and roll.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, Lisa. Thank you for having me on. Really wanted to get on here and share a few different things. First, I'm just going to talk about North America and who we are. And then what I want to do is go into a product of ours called the Prime Path Pro. It's a really nice, flexible product. It can be used for either income, a death benefit, and another cool thing about it is that it allows for flexible premiums, which is kind of rare in the industry. So before I go into too much product details, first I just want to talk about North American and who we are. And I break that into three different things. and I truly say you can do this for any company, place, organization, whatever it may be. I call it the three P's: people, place, and product. So first, when you're looking at people, we have teams of RSDs and SVPs. RSDs mean regional sales directors, and SVPs mean sales vice presidents. So I'm a sales vice president here at North American. So I work particularly with the IMOs, like Insurance Agency Marketing Services. A lot of the times I'm spending my time with marketers and going in to see all of those at the IMOs to see how we can help, you know, business that you guys do with North American. And then our team of regional sales directors, what they do, they have designated states, and what they'll do is they'll go out and visit agents within their designated states. Right now we have 8. It's one of those things that over time you look to expand, right? You can shrink your territories and therefore, see more people and be able to see more people, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, on a yearly basis. So if you guys are ever interested in learning more about North American and you want to meet individually with one of our regional sales directors and you're down in Florida or if you're in California, wherever it may be, we have one of these regional sales directors that will probably travel once every 3 weeks for a full week, and they can go out to meet you. You can steal a free lunch from us, learn a little bit about North American, have them come into the office, whatever it may be. We're an ESOP owned company, so we're very service focused, right? Each of us have a share within the company, meaning we want it to do well long term. If it does well long term, that means technically speaking, more money in our pocket because we own a share of we own shares or are part owners in the company of North American. When it comes to place, we were founded in 1886, so we've been around for a long time, privately held. We have over 1.7 million policyholders, and that's actually continuing to grow. Just like that number there, over 110 billion in assets. I think we're at 120 some now. I'm not quite sure. I'd have to check. But then when it comes to product, we have product built for growth, income, and legacy. And one today, actually, I would argue that it covers all 3 of those categories: growth, income, and legacy. We'll have some that are just focused on growth, some that are more so just focused on income. But this product itself, it'll have growth, income, and legacy benefits all applied to it. So I want to dive into the Prime Path Pro. Prime Path Pro is a fixed index annuity. It's kind of our focus here at North American on the annuity side, fixed index annuities, that is, meaning you get 100% downside protection. So let's look at the specs of this product here first. Pretty simple and straightforward for the most part. We have a 10 and a 12-year product. The issue ages, and there is a typo there. It says for the 10-year, it's 40 through age 79, and then for the 10-year, it's 40 through 75. That's actually a typo. It should say 10-year, 40 through 79, and then the 12-year we can issue through ages 40 through 75. Now, the 12-year, there might be some different states in there, so that's kind of especially California. I think California we can only issue through age 72 or something like that. I apologize. Don't know the exact number off the top of my head. It's a flexible premium product. Minimum premium is $20,000. And what's really cool about this product, as I've mentioned, it's built for either an income or a death benefit. There is no fee attached to that rider that creates the death benefit or income story. And we'll touch on that here in a little bit. But I really like to break the product down into 3 categories here. And those 3 categories are performance, income, and legacy. Or you can think of it as save it, spend it, and leave it. For performance, right? We can grow that account value, save that money as time goes on. If we want to use it for income, right? We have this money. We want to be able to spend that money and create a guaranteed lifetime income. If we have money and we're heading into retirement, we obviously want to be able to spend it on the things that we want to do. But this income rider creates a guaranteed income rider or guaranteed lifetime income rider. And then for legacy, if you're using this money to leave on to beneficiaries, you can leave it to those, and you'll see here in a little bit the enhanced amount that it could potentially leave. So for performance, we have 7 different allocations that are actually illustrating 7+% to the benefit base on this product. And you'll find out the benefit base is what you truly want to grow within this product. You're going to see numbers as high as the upper teens too. We'll see that here on another slide. We have indexes like the S&P Mark V, Morgan Stanley, and Maestro. So we have S&P indexes, Morgan Stanley indexes, both the well-known companies in the industry. And then also, I'll touch on this. We have optional enhanced indexing strategies. These are becoming very popular in the industry. You can pay a 95 basis points fee to get far greater participation rates. For income, um, on the income side, right? So we create a benefit base for that income. You get 200% benefit base roll up of the weighted average interest credit. So if you have a 5% account value growth, you have a 10% benefit base growth. And that benefit base is going to be important for either the income or legacy play. Income is available immediately day one. We have both level and increasing income options. So if you have a client, most of the times level is chosen, where the client gets the same amount of income for the rest of their life. But if you have clients worried about inflation, what they can do is if they're willing to take a lower number up front, that can increase each and every year for the rest of their life to hedge inflation. And then a really cool feature, we will double your lifetime income if you ever cannot perform 2 of 6 activities of daily living. Then
Hey,
lastly, for
Austin.
legacy, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I've got so back to the allocations. There's 17 allocations.
Yes. And we'll
Oh,
actually see them here in the next page or two. We have a ton of different indexing options. And you hear 17, you're like, gosh, that's a lot. A lot of what it is 1 and 2 year options of the same index, right? So I'd mentioned that Morgan Stanley index.
mhm.
We have a 1 and 2 year indexing option. So that's technically 2 indexing options there. But then also on the Morgan Stanley, we have a 1 and 2 year indexing option that if you're wanting to, you can pay a fee. And I kind of cut you off there. Sorry, I didn't know if there was more
Nope.
to that question. I apologize.
There was somebody that just wanted to reconfirm it is 17.
Yep. And actually, on the next page here, you'll really see each and every one of the indexing options and what they're illustrating at, which is really cool. Back to legacy here. So as I'd mentioned, so the legacy benefit you'll see towards the end on an illustration, the benefit base works as an enhanced death benefit for the beneficiaries. So you get 200% of that benefit base roll up, which applies to legacy. The enhanced death benefit option, what it is it pays out over a 5 year period to the beneficiaries. And then you always, if so, have the option to take the account value as a lump sum. We'll dive a little bit deeper into that right now, and you'll see numbers specifically. So as I've mentioned, there are 17 different indexing options illustrating at 7+% to the benefit base here. So I want to point out a few things that you're seeing. Let me see if I can get my pen out. So everything under this, I'm circling it, crediting method here at the top left. Everything under that on the left-hand side is each and every one of these indexing options that we have. So starting from the top, we have your fixed account. And if you work your way down, you have an annual point-to-point with a cap rate on the S&P 500. And the farther and farther you go down, you'll see some 2 year options, 2 year point-to-points with participation rates and indexing and a margin. And then everything from here down is actually the indexing options where you can pay a 95 basis points fee to get the higher participation rates. So then in the next column, right here, where it says declared rates at the top, those show all of the rates that we have for each specific indexing option on the left-hand side. So for the fixed account, we have a 2.65% fixed account. If you go one more down to the annual point-to-point with index cap rate, the cap rate on that is 5.25%. Now, people right away may say, well, I know there's products out there with 7 or 8% cap rates right now. Keep in mind, this product is built for income. So when you add a little bit of juice to the income piece that we have, you have to take from some other portion of the product, especially if we're not going to be paying a fee. So if you're not going to pay a fee on this for the income rider, we do have to take a little bit of juice from somewhere. But if you hit that 5.25% cap on the account value, you're actually doubling that amount and getting that 10.5% in that example added to the benefit base. But as we go down, and this is one thing that I'm going to point out, this column, so the next columns show the last 10-year growth in the account value here. So this column that you're seeing show the average return over the last 10 years for each and every one of these indexes. But I want you to keep in mind that that is the account value growth. If you go here to the next column that I'm going to highlight, This is the growth to the benefit base. So remember I'd said the benefit base grows by 200% of any interest credits. So basically double the percentage. The math actually gets a little bit funky because if you're doubling the percentage over a 10-year period, if you take the left-hand column versus the right-hand column will actually be slightly larger because your percentage is going to be based on a larger number. And we'll touch on that. It's confusing as I'm stating it right now, but we'll touch on it a little bit here in a couple slides. But one thing that I really want to keep in mind, if you look at that right column that's highlighted green, you're seeing numbers all the way up to 23.6%, 13.83, 18.37%. Those are very good numbers that you're going to get applied to the benefit base on this product. And remember, the benefit base is used for either the income or death benefit purpose. So really the best way that I like to dive into this product is by looking at illustration. I truly think illustrations are the best way to show you. So I'm going to show you an income example, and then I'm going to show you a death benefit example, and then I'm going to touch on the percentage and the math and how that works. So what you're looking at here is an income example of a 60-year-old client looking to take income in the fifth contract year. So after 4 years, they're going to turn age 65 in this contract year. They want to turn on income at this point in time. $100,000 they start out with. Now at the top right, I'm going to highlight this green. I chose a bunch of different indexing options on this contract, a couple with a fee, a couple without a fee. At the top right, you'll see an annual effective rate of 9.31%. So that just goes to show you that even with diversifying between multiple different indexing options, which I always I preach diversification. Don't bank on one index because there could be a 2 or 3 year stretch where that index doesn't do well, and then you want to get out of it, and then the next thing you know, that index explodes and goes off for the next 3 years. So I truly preach pick 2, 3, 4, 5 different indexing options that you like, whether it be the name of the index because the clients can recognize it, the performance of the index, or whatever else it may be. So the annual effective rate here with multiple different indexing options is 9.31%. And then what I want to highlight here, on this where the income starts. Right here, the first column, 7,150 that I'm circling in blue. That is when the account holder decides to turn on income. One thing that's really cool is as you see this line go down, I chose the increasing income option. So you're seeing, based on growth within the account value and how well the indexes perform, you're seeing growth year in and year out, which can be a really good inflation hedge story for your clients. One thing that I want to point out, remember I had mentioned that there was a doubler for lifetime for activities of daily living. Let's assume here in contract year 9, where you see highlighted green on the left-hand side, $10,685 is the lifetime income. Let's say in this contract year, your client could not perform 2 of 6 activities of daily living. Well, if you go all the way to the right to that box highlighted in green on the far right side, you'll see that what we would do is we would double that client's lifetime income to $21,370. A really cool story because if you cannot perform 2 of 6 ADLs, you probably have some medical bills that you're paying and experiencing. So we'll double your lifetime income for a maximum of 5 years. And then once that 5 years is up, we will go back to the original amount that we were paying. And then another thing that I really like highlighting here at the bottom left, you'll see total withdrawals. So this is looking at the first 30 years of income they've taken out on $100,000 in premium. So 30 years into the contract, they're age 90. It's equated to $800,000 in accumulative withdrawals. Now I want to temper expectations, right? Keep in mind we are looking at an indexed annuity. The top right, that annual effective rate is based on the last 10 years, which has been a tremendous 10 years. Indexed annuities, I say, are built to do 3 to 7%. And then if you get anything above that, it's just icing on the cake. So temper expectations, but those are some powerful numbers there. Over a 30-year period, $800,000 in withdrawals. And then as time would go on, the cumulative, actually, forget that number because what that does is that goes on not for infinity, but I think all the way out to like age 125 or something like that. So that cumulative withdrawal amount would probably never necessarily apply. Now let's look at
Question.
a death benefit example. Yeah, go ahead.
So, one thing I want to point out is on the LPA multiplier. Now, a lot of folks, I mean, long-term care is really becoming quite the expensive resource to help people with those needs. This is not intended to replace long-term care. This is just to help, having a little bit more extra is better than not having anything at all. So I've got a lot of agents that are really excited to show this feature to their clients because that is always in the back of their mind. How am I going to afford it? Where's this money going to come from in the event that I need to go into a nursing home or get assistance? And they love this feature. Just a quick question, Austin, is that 800,000 does that include the multiplier if they were to turn that on?
That that does not actually. The first
So
30 years
that
is
would
just
even be
showing
even
from age six.
higher if they utilize that multiplier.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely.
Hmm.
And to her point, she makes a very good point. Us and most annuity carriers, just as an FYI, if there's any sort of rider like this, ours is kind of neat because it has ADL features that a lot of other companies don't. But any sort of rider with a doubler, nursing home, confinement, ADL base, just as an FYI, keep in mind suitability does not like the words long-term care for a rider like this because it's technically not a replacement to long-term care. It's similar in fashion, right? But it's not a long-term care rider. It's a replacement that you can kind of use in a similar fashion for it. So just keep in mind the words long-term care on our suitability form because this is not technically a long-term care rider.
Hmm.
I would just advise as a no-no because suitability can sometimes have some big time issues with that since it's not technically a long-term care rider.
The true long-term care, right? Another one of our agents here on the questions, just wants us to reiterate. So basically, once you turn that multiplier on, okay, it'll go for 5 years. So in this example, at 68, if
Yep,
they can perform two of the six ADLs, they submit that into North American. North American increases their payout to 21,370, and then
yep.
after 5 years, it's going to go back to 10,685.
Well, actually, I'll show you how this is work. So it's a little different because we're using the increasing income
Oh,
option.
we're doing the
So I'll
increase in
start on the
income.
right.
So, yep, sorry.
Yeah. So I'll start on the right hand column here where it's doubled to 21,370. And hopefully you guys can see this here. It's the blue. So you would get this income for 5 years. So you would get this doubler for 5 years. So 21,370 all the way to this here right here where it's 32,185. So for those 5 years, you would get these numbers on the far right hand column. Then what would happen is after that fifth year, what we would do is in this column, so we go down here and we would go back because we still are tracking their increases technically. We would go to the 16,092 number in this example. So what's really nice is we're not going to ding you. We're going to keep that increasing income going. We're not going to ding you for turning on the doubler. We still keep track of the increases, and rather than going back to that original 10,685, we go back to 16,092. And then from
Can
there on
we
out,
say
it begins
inflation?
increasing and we follow that line.
Inflation comes to mind. I don't know if anybody else is thinking it, but that's what I'm thinking.
Absolutely. That's essentially, like I said, levels chosen the most on this contract. But for those really, really worried about inflation, I mean, obviously inflation's been a huge topic over the last year. Those really worried about it over a 30-year period, this increasing income option's a tremendous story. All righty. Now I wanted to make sure I was showing you a death benefit example. Let's assume a client comes in with $100,000. They're age 70, so a little bit older example here. And they tell you, I know I'm never going to touch this money. And let's just say they don't have the greatest health. They might not be able to apply for life insurance or pass, right? So they have this $100,000 and they just want to leave it to their beneficiaries. you can put it in this contract, and let's assume in this example they pass away in the 10th contract year. So I've highlighted that 10th contract year line in green. Well, your account value on the left hand, it's a highlighted red number. Your account value is $231,257 in this example. But remember, we have an enhanced death benefit based on the benefit base, which has been getting double the percentage each and every year. So that right-hand column number that's highlighted in red, 488,408, could be distributed to the beneficiaries. Now, what we do in that enhanced amount, they just have to take it out over a 5-year period. So the client would have two options, or the beneficiary, I should say. The beneficiary could take the left-hand number, the 231,257, as a lump sum, or they could get an extra 250,000, which on the right-hand side is 488,000, but they just get it paid out in 5 equal installments. I mean, if you ask me in that example, the earlier on in the contract, the closer these two numbers are, but the farther along you get, the higher that benefit base gets, and it can truly widen that amount between the account value and the benefit base. And if you ask me, I'm taking the 488,000 as a 5-year payout rather than the 231. I mean, you can guarantee me an extra 250,000. I just have to be okay with taking it over a 5-year period, which helps me too as a beneficiary tax wise. If I get 231,000 as a lump sum, I mean, I'm definitely getting bumped up to the next tax bracket unless I'm, making just large amounts of money. You spread that out over a 5-year period, taking the 488, and it helps with taxes too, which is really nice. And then lastly, I get asked, and I was talking with Lisa on this. It sounds like she get asked quite a bit about the math on this. So I'm using a similar example. Just a 70-year-old client, and the math, I get the math question. Okay, show me an example of how the benefit base. What do you mean by the 200%? Right? So we'll go out here to a year where the account value sees growth of 1.81%. Right? So what I mean by that is that the benefit base in this example that year would increase by double that amount, or 200% of it, which is 3.62%. So if we jump on that right-hand side, what you're seeing here is a jump, and I'll highlight the two numbers, a jump from 472,123 to 489,218. And in that box to the right, I've done the example for you here, right? The jump from 472,123 to the 489 number is a 3.62% increase, which, as you can see here, 3.62 is essentially 200%, or just double the 1.81%. So that's just hopefully that helps visualize that number. And I used a lower amount of 1.81 rather than getting into, a 16% return in a certain year or something like that. But it's hopefully that helps visualize and give you a sense of how that benefit base increases. Just take the percentage earned on the account value times 2. But what's really awesome, remember, in this example where you're getting 3.62% added to it, you're getting a 3.62% increase on 472,000, whereas the account value is only getting a 1.81% increase on 228,000. So it's a really powerful story because your benefit base is the important part of this puzzle, and as that's growing, you get a percentage doubled off of a higher amount as well.
So can we go into a little bit why it tops out at in year 15?
Correct. So the benefit base does only roll up for 15 years. It's something I'm glad you mentioned. I always want to make sure I highlight that. The benefit base roll up stops after the 15th year. So if you're looking to turn on income, I don't talk to many people that want to wait 20 years for income. Do you want to wait 20 years for income? 5 of those 20 years will not see a roll up to the benefit base. And now that doesn't mean they can't turn on income in that 20th year. There's just the roll up to the benefit base stops after the 15th. So too, that actually probably works more so for the death benefit story than it does the income story, because a lot of the times you're turning on income within 15 years. For the death benefit story, if you are 60 years old and you're going in with this as a death benefit play, and let's assume you're healthy, you have strong family history of health, if you're going to live another 25, 30 years, just keep in mind the benefit base will only roll up for 15 years on that example.
Perfect. I do get that question once in a while, so I want to make sure that we're clear on that. And then it basically just will stop growing at the end of that 15-year period because you notice it caps out at the 925,
Yep.
754, but your account value will continue to grow. So
Yes, that's the
it
important
will
part is
still
your
grow.
account value does
Cap
continue to
out
grow.
altogether,
Yep.
just on your benefit base and your death benefit options there is where it caps out after 15.
Yep, exactly. And then just kind of showing you quickly where we win. We have a no fee for the income rider. I know there are several others in the income without, or in the industry without a fee. But the important part for ours is there is no wait for the income. We don't have a 10-year wait. Oh, I'm sorry, 10-year wait or anything like that. We get 200% of the benefit base stacking, right? So when it comes to allocation options, we have plenty of those indexing options that are going to illustrate at super high percentages to the benefit base. We have those enhanced participation rates that can give you more upside. And then a really cool piece is we have flexible premium. So if you have a client that starts with $100,000 and 5 years in, they say, hey, I have this extra $20,000 I came across in some account I forgot about 15 years ago, at some company I worked for, and I totally forgot to move my retirement with them to another account. They can add it to this as long as, it's like funds.
And that's
And
a
that's
big
all that I
thing.
had.
I want to go back to that. Can you go back to that slide real quick?
Yeah,
Thing I want to point
absolutely.
out, we got a lot of, situations where, they're coming in, they know they're coming into money, or they know they're going to be retiring or the wife is going to be retiring or whatever the case is. And a lot of folks aren't aware of knowing that they have a flexible premium option. Not a lot of carriers offer that, guys. So North American and this product is definitely something you want to keep in your back pocket. Another thing I wanted to point out is being able to utilize this for that, scenario where the client's not sure if they're going to need income. Why pay for an income rider for the next 10 years if you're not sure you're even going to use it? So this is a
Yep.
really good option for those clients that, you're having that fact finder meeting, you're trying to figure out what their financial goals are, and they're just not sure. But then they inherited, grandpa's farm, and now they don't need the income, and because they have those assets to deal with, and so now you have a nice legacy, to help your beneficiaries with estate taxes and things like that. And then they get to spread that out over 5 years. So this is just a really good, solve a lot of different problems type of product. That I get a lot of eyebrows raised on this one when I'm talking about all the different benefits. Um, there was something else I was gonna add to this, and I'm kind of trying to remember what that was. Mm, I lost it. I lost it, Austin.
That's all right. It's still kind of early. It's not noon yet. That's all right. I
Only
get
on
it.
my first cup of
I'm
coffee.
exactly.
So, yeah, this is a really cool product. If you're not contracted, I think this is a good time for me to set a poll here. I appreciate everybody, chiming in with your questions. That lets me know that you're paying attention and interested. So I'm going to launch my last poll here, and I'm going to open up the question box for anybody else that wants to talk to our expert, Austin, from North American on this. I always challenge you to try to stump our speakers. So if anybody's up to that challenge.
Well, you are
um,
talking to the brightest person in the room, that's for sure. So, you probably could find something easy to stump me.
let's see if I can find a trivia question here. No. Um, so yeah, definitely answer this if you need to get contracting, check yes. If you have a couple clients that you want to see an illustration for, check yes. If you just want to see the brochures or a rate sheet, or take a deeper dive into some of those allocations and those options, check yes. Ooh, Austin, I remembered what it is. Um,
Okay.
the enhanced features for the allocations.
Yes.
What happens if that allocation, let's say it's a, what is it? What is the fee for those?
95 basis points.
All right, 95 basis points. So they choose this allocation that costs them 95 basis points for 5 years, and that still didn't do anything at the end of the surrender period. What happens?
So there is a account value true up, I guess you could say, on the fee options, where actually if your growth within those indexes do not outperform the fees, what we do is we true you up for that. So that's really cool.
Hmm.
It doesn't necessarily negate the fee, I should say, because you still would see the fee coming out each and every year. But if your growth within those options don't outweigh the fee, then you'll actually see us true your account value up to that. And another really cool thing that I always point out, let's say if you don't like those fee for rate options right away, 5 years in, you can always switch to them. Or let's say you don't want to pay 95 basis points. Well, you can actually water that down in some way by choosing 25% of your indexing options in the fee for rate strategies, and then the other 75 in the no fee strategies. And then you're only paying the fee on the option allocated to the fee options, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yep, perfect. That's what it was I wanted to point out. There's a lot of folks that was like, oh my goodness, this participation rate is awesome. Oh shoot, there's a fee. I don't want any fees. Okay, well that's fine. And whether it's a fit for your client or not, but I always think that's important. It seems like nobody is aware of that true up feature. And so I want to make sure that we were clear on that too.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we got our work cut out for us, Austin. A lot of folks are looking to get additional information. So with that, I don't see any other questions in our question box. I want to personally thank Austin for taking the time out of his busy travel schedule to be with us today, talk to you guys about this awesome product. It's a great fit for all, that just aren't sure what they want to do, or they are sure what they want to do. And, it checks off a lot of boxes. So thank you so much, Austin, for coming. And thank you, everybody, for giving us an hour out of your day and hearing about one of this nice product with North American and our buddy Austin there at North American as well.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Everybody, I'll let you get back to work and talking to those clients. Call us anytime if you need anything at 800-255-5055, and we'll catch you next time around. Take care, everyone.